How's the squad looking? There was a bug, wasn't there, last week?
Sessegnon, Alex Iwobi, they are going to be out of the game. All the other players are going to be available.
And how much impact did that illness have? Has everyone recovered?
Okay, we had a difficult week with 1 or 2. We have to keep assessing every single day. Sander is through the illness and he's being the one that is suffering a little bit more. He felt something in the week of Brentford, was one of the reasons why he recovered for Villa, and after last week he had a probably bigger one, and he's having an impact on him. He's trying his best. He's going to be in contention to the game. We have to assess him to see if he's going to be in conditions to start. As Raul, the same situation as well. We have to assess him. He's not training full week with the team, and we have to assess him tomorrow too. But both they are going to be in contention, and tomorrow I'm going to take a decision related with that situation. Out and not in contention to the game, Alex Iwobi and Sessegnon. Kevin is going to be back in contention. Long period without games, but a good week from him with the team, and he's going to be in contention to the game.
That's a huge boost, isn't it?
It's important for us. It's been a very difficult season in that aspect of the game. In certain periods, we have been without key players for us. Unfortunately for us, almost more than half of the season just with one striker, squeezing as much as we can. Raul is not a normal situation. He's being waiting long period to see the Rodrigo Muniz back in the best form possible. Of course, Raul is doing an incredible job and doing everything for the team, even sometimes under some difficulties he's doing his maximum as always for the team. But of course, and with Kevin is more or less the same situation, probably the best moment of him when he's really adapted, when he's become decisive for us and the threat from the oppositions. He took a really difficult injury that completely break the momentum for him and for the team. Now he's back, probably with 2-3 months with not football. Is not in his best physical point of view, but we need him for the next 3 games, and he's going to be there for us to use him in the best way possible.
3 games left. You're in the race for European football. Yes. How big a moment, how big a game do you feel this is?
A big one, big one. As going to the end, the game is getting bigger, getting more decisive. And if he's against a team that is around ourselves, above ourselves, in the case of Bournemouth, gets in. I think the feeling is that is even more decisive for us. Definitely, it's a big game. I'm not going to say probably that is the most important of the season, because I don't go in the direction. Because if you are going to get a good result, the next one is going to be even more important. But it definitely is a big one that we have to be. And to reach the standards to be able to do what many times this season we have been doing at home. We have been very strong. If you look for the home table, the position that we are is a recognition of how strong we have been being at home. We are going to play against a side in a very good form. The momentum that they are getting week after week show and represent their quality as well. But we are going to play home. Cottage is being a fortress definitely for ourselves. Great results, some great performance too, and let's go for another one.
Is it a game you feel you have to win, or could a draw be enough?
It's a game that we look for the game to win, definitely. We don't prepare in a different way, never. And of course, if we are talking about so massive 3 points there, of course we prepare the game to win, 100% sure.
Have you spoken to the players about the enormity of this moment in the season, the importance of it, the next 3 games? Is there excitement around?
Yeah. 100% sure. Of course, some things is not going to disrupt. Of course, if you have all the players available, if you don't lose players, key players, to lose Alex and Sessegnon in this moment of the season for us was a big blow. You are talking about in that left-hand side 2 key players for us. With the absence of Kevin, shows that probably. And if you look for us, the last 2 seasons and a half, our left-hand side is being so strong in terms of creativity, in terms of creating chances, plus Emil. And of course, to lose 2 big players, it was a big blow for us, but it's not a moment to complain or to cry about it. It's a moment to go with the solutions that we have. And the players, they know, of course, we have been talking about, as you expect. You have been not just this week before. We had more or less the same conversation with you and the players before the Villa game at home was another one decisive for us. And was fair enough, but the people were saying that if you are not able to win, we have to start to forget the European places and the European fight. No, that moment was a decisive one. Okay, last game against Arsenal was decisive too. We are not at the standards that game was demanding from us. Another opportunity for us that you have to be to reach standards, to go for the level that we normally have been playing at home to get the right result.
And Bournemouth's a bit of a bogey team for Fulham in recent years. What can you take from the previous results and change this time?
The games are always tight, difficult for both sides. I remember, for example, last season, good performance when we were winning almost until the end. They drew in the end. 2 seasons ago, we won the game home. At home, we have been strong enough to win games against them, like they have been against us at home at Bournemouth too. And the games decisive sometimes in the last minutes. I remember we were winning the game away from home this season until really the last 10 minutes of the game. I mentioned to you last season at home we were winning the game until the last minutes as well. 2 seasons ago we did perform very well and we won the game. It's a difficult side to play against. I think first of all, their individual quality, their collective quality as well. I think the intensity that they put in the game, everybody recognizes in Premier League that they have the pace, they have the speed, they have the intensity in their team, and because that they are always games, most of the times with goals, and games that both teams, I think, they are going to play or try to be on the front foot to win the game.
And one player who's been so key for you this season, a bit of a drop-off in form recently, but still so important, is Harry Wilson. More noise around his future. Has there been any development?
No, not any news about it. Full focus in the 3 games. In the next one has a big one, and what I can feel from him is the same. Completely focused in the role, in what he should do. As you mentioned, of course, he didn't score the last 3-4 games. I don't remember. After Burnley, I think he didn't score. Of course, it's normal that the people start to talk about that and connect one thing with the other. I mean, nothing is connected. I keep seeing Wilson working very hard to get and to help the team. Of course, he's being decisive for us. We expect always good performance and good goals from him. But the others, they have to step in as well. The others, they have to stand up in the right moments. And good players, they are for the right moments. And it's a very important moment for us. You don't expect that just Wilson is going to stand up. We expect all the others to do the same.
You know him well. Do you think European football might sway his decision?
I don't know. We have been talking about. Of course, I will not hide to you because it's a dream for him to get his club in Europe. 100% sure. Like is for the others too. I already had this conversation with him, and I know how that means for him. 100% sure. You cannot forget was the first player that I did sign for this football club almost 5 years ago. Long period, and of course, it's something that is achievable. Yes, difficult. Yes, dream for him and for the others. 100% sure. Let's go to fight for it, and I know that he's completely focused on that goal for ourselves.
Would it sway your decision?
Sorry?
Would European football sway your decision?
It's not. I already told you that it's not related. Probably, I know I'm not in the Harry Wilson mind as well. It's not a decisive situation for him. Probably not for me. Not as well. The right moments. When you have some news, you are going to know. Not moments to comment. I want everybody, myself, always. I'm the first one, and to push forward is important right now for the football club.
You continue to be linked with Chelsea. Is it distracting at all?
No, not any comments on it.
Just one question away from Fulham. We're asking managers today, spying, it's back in the news again. Have you ever encountered it from another team, and what sort of countermeasures do clubs take?
For me, today in football, I don't know. I just get the question now. I know why you're questioning. Some noise around is not my job, and what I can control is my team, and is all the focus in my team. As more I can know from the other team, we are going to try to know under the normal circumstance in football. You have the games to analyze, you have the things to analyze. Today in football, you have so many information that all the other things, they are not part of football and the football that we love.
Do you take countermeasures though? Are people just checking the fences? And you've got tall trees here, obviously, but do you have a look around? Or
everything that we can control and make the things to be more safe, 100% sure we do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi.
I'm going back to Bournemouth and the form they've been. They haven't lost a league match since January. What is it about them? There are a lot of draws in there, so they're not always winning all the time, but what makes them so difficult to beat?
I said to you, of course, during the period, everybody was talking about them, that they were not winning games. I remember before some important games, I don't know if it was Arsenal or Newcastle, I don't know how many games they had without a win, and everybody was, I'm not saying complain, but was making that or notice that they were not winning games, but at the same time they have been very difficult to be beaten as well. And it's about consistent. They are a team that looks always to try to win the game. That is a thing. You cannot say that, okay, they were not winning for so long period. They are a team that try to draw. I don't see in that way. I see completely in a different way. They try to be on the front foot, that intense game, that man-on-man marking and all that stuff creates a scenario in the game. Sometimes the games they are a little bit, you don't see easy organization on it, both sides, not the side A and the side B is always a tough competition. A lot of challenge, a lot of individual challenge is the way they want the game to go, and of course depending from the opposition side. But answer direct to you, they are a difficult team to play against because they are intense, they are brave, they are physical, and of course I expect another good game at Cottage tomorrow, and I expect us to reach the levels and the standards that allow us to win the football match, and of course massive respect for Bournemouth and what they have been doing.
When you played them earlier in the season, their goals came from Sessegnon and Clivert. Semenyo's obviously gone. Clivert's been injured a lot, but I think he might be back in contention this weekend. But how much of an achievement is that to have been missing out on those two key players and managed to muddle the way through and maintain those sort of levels?
But I can remind you that our player that scored the goal there as well is injured too. I can tell to you, the player that scored our goal, that was Sessegnon, is not going to be in the game too. I can mention to you the player last season or 2 seasons ago, Rodrigo scored 2 goals against them as well, and he's not being in his best level. Okay, is what it is. It's the season, it's the moment of the season. Some players they are, others they aren't. Of course, I understand your question. Semedo was a big player for them, but it's not no more them. Like we had some big players for us that they are not going to be in contention to the game.
And you talked before about you didn't want to say this one's the biggest of the lot or whatever. When you look at them on paper, is this the most difficult of the lot, would you say, of the 3 that you have remaining?
It's the most important. I'm not going to say about difficulties or not. Of course, the position that they are show that they have been great. Their momentum show their quality, and of course, I'm the first one to recognize that. I cannot say that it's going to be more difficult than the next one or than the last one against Newcastle. Even it's not important to talk about the others, it's important to talk about this one, but it's very, 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 very important game for us.
You often, this season, we've talked about it before, you've had a positive response very often from a disappointing result. Obviously, last week was a match that didn't go your way. Are you hoping to draw on what we've seen in the past this season, but perhaps in those times of adversity, when perhaps things have looked difficult, you managed to find almost your best performances in response? We
went to bounce back, definitely, from a bad performance from us. I really look to the performance. Of course, you never expect to lose a game. We never expect to be beaten. We prepare always the games to win the games and to be as better as you can be. Of course, was a disappointing one for us. It's not when you go to play against Liverpool away from home or Arsenal away from home. You expect always very difficult games. We have changed so many things in the football club. In the last few seasons, the way we have been competitive, almost always, against Arsenal in the first half against Liverpool, they were not the best examples of it, but should not be a shame when you are not able to get a win against these type of clubs and don't create a crisis at all. But I'm the first one to recognize that we didn't reach the standards that we should, and performance-wise was really below the standards. Simple as that. I'm honest enough to come here and don't hide in terms of words and try to protect. I don't need to create any protection, but I'm realistic, I'm honest, and I look for the things like they are really. And I don't see any crisis because we lost 3 points. I want us to bounce back and to go for a game that is going to be decisive. And I hope that Cottage played their part as well. I hope that our fans, they look to the game as we are going to look a decisive one, and from the first whistle they are going to be with us, pushing the team forward. We are going to be moments that we are not going to be on the top of the game because you are going to face a good side, but other moments that you are going to be, and in all the moments, we need them behind ourselves.
That's great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Robert, you had for Liverpool.
Hi.
When the time does come for you to make a decision on your own future, what are some of the questions you're going to have to ask yourself about what you want from next season and the following seasons after? What are the things that you need to take into account for yourself, for your own future?
What is the best for the club?
And how
What is the best for the club, as always? So far in 5 years in this football club, and the club knows, so many things did happen, so many decisions I did take, and what was in my mind, you believe or not, was always what is the best for the club.
And you've only won back-to-back games, so twice since New Year or Christmas in the league. Is that lack of just not being able to get any momentum? What would you put that down to?
I agree with you. It's being difficult for us to get that momentum, to get some, for example, in December we had, 7, 8 games, and we got the momentum in a difficult period with some big absences for us, players in the African Cup, some injured players and all that stuff, without Rodrigo, without the players in the African Cup Nations, and some more absences, and the way you reacted was brilliant, really. I think 8, 9 games with some big games for us, a lot of points that you collect, and you got the momentum there in the difficult circumstances. From them it's being more difficult for us to get, many things. Of course, one is consistent. The easiest way and to say was about we lost some key players that is being difficult for us. We have probably is being the year that is being more difficult for me to get the 11 playing week in, week out, that at least to repeat 9, 10 players every single game. You see how many times we change our left on sides, so many times we have changed our left back for many different reasons. How many times you change our right back. It's being difficult in certain positions to get some consistency to allow us to go for the level and to allow us to create connections, even if you are together so long period, to create that connections week in, week out, always with the same players, working together, training together, playing together. And I think was one of the reasons for sure, and of course others that is not important to mention here, all the others, but I agree with you, is being part of a season when we are in a good position to fight for something incredible, good for the club, even without that consistent. But the reality that in some moments you see some clubs that they have been not able to win during 7, 8, 9 games, for example, and clubs that they are in a fantastic position on the table, and after Sunday they get the momentum. We after January, after that December month, we are not able to get that momentum, but you never see ourselves as well without 5 or 6 games without a win. We have been able to bounce back even from the bad moments, and you have the two sides. Looking that way, it's being difficult for us to get the momentum that we need right now. For example, we need to win the games. We need to win games until the end of the season. But at the same time, we don't get that bad momentum as well to lose games in a row, or to be a long period without a win as well. Show that in some moments when looks that the momentum are not coming, we have been able to bounce back as a team, and let's hope tomorrow we can do the same. Thank you very much.
Cameras up, please. Raúl,